Hey everyone, welcome back. Today is the night before the halving event tomorrow. So thank you so much for coming to watch this video. We're going to talk about a couple of things. Obviously, Bitcoin going up today was huge. It took a pretty sizable portion of the day for it to go up, but it did finish up in the green quite nicely. But within the last probably hour or so, it has basically given up all those gains here. We'll take a look at what's going on there. The miners had a fantastic day today as well. We'll take a look at that. We'll see if that holds up for tomorrow. And then we got a couple stories here. We got Mawson providing their production updates for March. We're not going to go really deep into it. We'll just kind of gloss over it. We have Riot, also 2 new stories on them. Corsicana facilities has been energized, and they're also doing a vote for shareholders in June. Where there's some things obviously we need to talk about there. And we're going to take a look at the network hash rate compared to the Bitcoin miners here in March, how much the network hash rate actually grew, and how much the miners grew or didn't grow. So we'll take a look at that, and we'll look at some miner comparisons for the past 12 months on hash rate, Bitcoin mine, things like that. And we'll pretty much call it a day. So it should be a pretty easy one. Okay. So as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice. For anyone only, please do your own research and invest in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoyed this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. Also, corrections will be posted to Discord, YouTube, and Twitter. And I'm not paid by any public mining company. Okay. Full disclosure there for everything. All right, let's take a look at what's going on with the market here really quick. We can see here that Bitcoin obviously had a pretty nice bounce here from yesterday, or from, when was this? This was probably on Tuesday, Wednesday. Sorry, gosh, time's flying by. So today, Thursday, Bitcoin actually was up 3.65%. It was down on Wednesday, 3.97%, right? We came back up to our support line here, or resistance line at 63,600, 63,700 roughly. Came pretty close to that. You can see it here on the chart. We did wick below our support here at 61,000 roughly, and we came back above it. Right, so that was a kind of good sign there. And now today, within the last probably hour or so, you can see here, yeah, within the last 2 hours, we just had a huge candles to the downside here. So somebody's trying to get us below that support number of 61,000. You can see here that we wicked below it. We went a low on it. Let me see here. The low was, where's the low? There it is, 60,924 was low on this candle here, on this 1 hour candle here. Okay, so we're still bouncing between the 61,000 and the 63,700 mark, somewhere around there. We'll see if this can maintain or hold, right? I've said this in yesterday's video that the more times we touch this support here at 61,000, the more likely that we are to fall below it. We had a touch here, at least one touch, 2, 3 here, 4, 5, 6. Now we got 7th touch here as well. So we'll see if we can maintain it, hold it. If we don't hold it, then we are going down possibly to 57,500 roughly. That's kind of our next support here, right around this level, right? Or 57,000 to 57,500, somewhere like that. Okay, so something to be mindful of here. Obviously, the miners had a pretty good day today as well. And I need to move this. Actually, this is over in the new day. This is from Friday, so we're good there as far as the halving line here. That's going to happen probably sometime after 5 o'clock today or Friday in the afternoon, Central Standard Time. So we'll see when that happens. But that's going to be obviously interesting, and we'll see how Bitcoin does. Right now, it's not doing too good. But the miners, like today, had a really good day. We'll see if that holds up for tomorrow. A lot of the miners were up actually double-digit gains percentage-wise. But then it kind of pulled back towards the end of the day. Bitcoin kind of came down a little bit, but then it went back up. But you can see here that we only had really one miner in the red. That was Argo for the day. Everybody else was in the green, which was nice, right? So we were kind of thinking maybe this was the end of it. The bottom might be in. The miners have been kind of up yesterday as well on Wednesday. They were up today on Thursday. So maybe there was some sign of potential bottoming out here, but we'll see. Anything is possible with Bitcoin, obviously, and the Bitcoin miners themselves in general. But we'll keep an eye on this, see what happens tomorrow with the halving event. And I'll probably post some things on Twitter as well if I see things happening. But right now, we're definitely falling below our support here at 61,000. So that's interesting. We'll see if we get another week down or something like that, or if we just get a quick crash down to 57,000 and back up. Maybe we'll get that. We'll see. All right, but that's it for the Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners here. Let's take a look at some news stories that we do have here. First one is from Mawson Infrastructure Group. They announced a monthly production update for March 2024. We're not really going to get into it too deep in here. They didn't provide anything new that we didn't know before. I'm guessing their hash rate stayed the same. They did mine a little bit more here as far as revenue-wise, right? So that was good here. And what else do we have here? Let me see here. The self-mining business revenue increased 182% year over year, 12% month over month to 2.87 million. We don't know how much Bitcoin that was mined. I did run the numbers on my spreadsheet. And as you guys know, I got rid of a lot of the smaller miners. I got rid of, I think, around, was it 6 miners? Yeah, 6 miners that I got rid of. Moss was obviously one of them. So I'll provide that spreadsheet to you guys because I still keep track of them just to see if they start doing really well going forward. Not just Mawson, but all those other smaller miners. And then we can always include them back into with the larger miners potentially if that happens. But I'm keeping track of them just to see how they're doing. But I'm not going to really comment on them or talk about them too much other than just to say to let you guys know that I will let you guys have the spreadsheets do that as well for Patreon members. That'll be available later on tonight, so you guys will have access to it as well. Okay, so that's it for Mawson here really quick. Next, Riot. We got some good news from Riot. So Riot energizes a new Corsicana facility in Navarro County, Texas. And this is actually really good. It's been quite a few years in the making here. So today, Riot announced today that it has successfully energized the substation excuse me, at the company's Corsicana facility. 2 years ago, we purchased 265 acres of land in Navarro County, Texas, driven by our vision to build the world's largest Bitcoin mining facility. And today, we have achieved a new milestone in turning that vision into reality with the energization of Corsicana facility. It's Jason Letts, CEO of Riot. This landmark achievement highlights our team's unwavering dedication and collaboration effort over the past 2 years. With the Corsicana facility's 400 megawatt substation now operational, we remain well on track to increase our self-mining hash rate capacity to 31 exahash by the end of the year. And obviously, this is great news here. So the goal here with Corsicana is obviously to have them operating closer to 100% uptime than we've seen with Rockdale facility. All right, that's kind of the thing that we're looking for. And hopefully that does translate into that. But obviously we'll have to see. Time will tell, right? Jason Letts, I believe, has stated before that they're looking to only maybe curtail like 3 to 5, I think he said, % of the year at that facility, which would be fantastic. So don't quote me on that, but I think that's kind of what he said before, which is nice to see there. And then here we go, some more details. The recently energized substation will power the initial 400 megawatt phase of development of the Corsicana facility. This initial phase is expected to add 16 exahash to Riot's self-mining capacity by the end of 2024. Obviously, that would be potentially enough to get them to the 31 exahash they want to get to. And also, the first batch of miners in the first 100 megawatt building A1, have been installed and are already hashing, and miners will continue to be deployed in building 1A until a total capacity of 3.7 exahash is reached. Right? They didn't provide what they actually plugged in right now. They're probably saving that for the production update for April when they release that in May. But at least they're up and running now, hashing. That's a good sign here. It's a day before the halving event, so they'll get at least some benefit out of it. And then they're going to be basically cut in half as far as production is concerned, starting tomorrow sometime. Okay, let's see here. The remaining buildings in the first phase, building A2, B1, and B2, are set to progressively become operational over the next several months and are expected to add an additional 12 exahash to Riot's self-mining capacity, which is expected to total 31 exahash by the end of 2024. Okay, so there you have it. This is obviously great news for Riot and for Riot shareholders. And now we just need to see them obviously put out the numbers, what their operational numbers are like, and hopefully, like I said before, that they are at much closer to 100% uptime at that facility, which would be fantastic if that's the case. Because I think that would be the catalyst that possibly takes the stock much higher, if that's the case. Okay, so there's some obviously great news here, and then we have some kind of concerning news here for Riot as well. Yesterday, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, they put out a Schedule 14A. That's not a statement. It's they published it with the SEC. So here's what we have happening here on this one. They're going to hold an annual meeting. The meeting is going to take place on June 12th of this year, Wednesday, June 12th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And obviously, you can visit that, or if you're a shareholder, you can go to virtualstockholdermeeting.com, Riot 2024. Go to there, and you can vote on this. And here's the things that they want you to vote on down here. So they want to elect as a Class 3 director each of 2 nominees in the accompanying proxy statement for a term expiring at the 2027 Annual General Meeting of Stockholders. They want to ratify in a non-binding advisory vote for appointment of Deloitte & Touche, LLP, as their independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024. Right, so those 2 things aren't bad there. To approve in a non-binary advisory vote the compensation of the company's named executive officers, say on pay. So that's, I guess, for pay increase maybe. And then this one here, obviously, this is the one that's concerning here, to approve that the company's articles of incorporation be amended to increase the number of shares of common stock authorized for issuance thereunder from 340 million shares to 680 million shares, right? Double what they have right now. And that's, I wouldn't say it's concerning, but I mean, for shareholders, it's always concerning because what are you getting for that dilution potentially down the road, right? It's not like they're going to dilute all that 340 million of shares in like the first year or two. It's going to be probably over the next, I'm guessing, 4 to 8 years potentially, right? So the dilution is going to be happening whether we like it or not, especially if they want to continue to grow, right? Get large scale. Basically, what they're trying to do is, I guess, scale their business to a point where it's very profitable, whether it's in a bear market or in a bull market going forward. And that's the case for all the miners that I cover here. They're all diluting one way or another because they want to grow. They want to grow their hash rate, get to scale. So, right, that's obviously something that we as investors have to be mindful of. And it's not something that we probably want to be invested in for the long term, right? We don't want to be in these stocks for, 8 to 10 years. We want to be in these kind of cyclical cycles where we're kind of trying to get them in the bear markets where things are coming down really hard and they're becoming very cheap, and also looking to see how they're going to be growing further. And that's kind of when we want to kind of, buy into them, dollar cost average into them, hold them for a year or two, or maybe 2.5, something like that. Once we get back into the bull run within following halving event, and then sell out of them again. So you're looking at probably like a year to 3 year cycle on some of these guys, depending if you can time it perfectly. If you can time it perfectly, then you would have been buying basically in December of 2022 when all of these miners were basically at rock bottom at that point. And you hold on to them through basically 2 years, something like that, at that point until they reach their possible all-time highs or much higher price valuations from where you were buying them at, okay? So there's that. And then the fifth one is to approve the sixth amendment to the 2019 Equity Incentive Plan to increase the number of shares reserved for issuance thereunder by 15 million shares. So basically, they're adding 15 more million shares into the incentive package to pay out to their C-suite, I guess you could say. Okay, so those are the things that you want to be mindful of, and I'm guessing this is going to probably pass without big issues there. So just wanted to point that out, that they will have more shares that they can dilute down the road, right? That's, like I said, it's not going to be anytime soon, like within the next year or two. It's going to be in the next 4 to 8 years potentially. Okay, that is it on Riot here. All right, let's take a look at some numbers here. So we're going to look at the network hash rate comparison to publicly traded Bitcoin miners combined hash rate. And I took out the smaller miners, right? So the 6 smaller miners that I took out was Argo, DMG, DigiHost, Mawson, not Mawson. I don't even know if I track Mawson anymore. I think I do. Gosh, I can't remember even. No, not Mawson. Sorry. Stronghold and Annie. So that reminds me, I don't even track Mawson. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't track Mawson. For some reason, I was thinking that I still track Mawson. Having these two different spreadsheets is confusing me a little bit for the smaller miners and the larger miners. But yeah, Mawson was not part of those, part of that one, right? Let me take a look here. Make sure I didn't goof here. Okay, let me see here. Open recent. I want to open up the small miners. Let's see. Open some of the smaller miners. Miners small. There we go. Let's see if they were in there. Mawson, they are in there. Okay, never mind. I'm losing my mind here. It's late. So Mawson is being tracked. Apologize for that. We got to clear it up. Okay. All right, going into here. So I took out those miners. Those miners were the smaller miners. So Argo, DigiHost, DMG, Sphere 3D, Stronghold. Those were the ones that I took out from basically my overall list that I'm really tracking hard. The smaller ones I track a little bit here, but just to kind of keep up with them, right? Nothing major. So network hash rate comparison. So we took out those. Those only accounted for a couple exahash. It wasn't that much. If we look at these over here, from how much we took out of it. Total of, let me see, where can we find that miner comparison? It'd be over here. So these miners here accounted for approximately 12.6 exahash, roughly, right? Argo had 2.8, DigiHost 1.2, DMG 1.2, Mawson 1.4, Sphere 1.2, and then we had Stronghold here with 4.7 roughly or so. So yeah, so that's kind of what we are dealing with there. Okay. 12.6 exahash, and then the bigger miners here, if we look at those guys have a total of, going down here, 121. So about 10% of that was taken off from these guys here, roughly, if I'm not mistaken on my math here, right? Minor small, 12. Let's see here. Do we have that right? And it's not calculating properly. Why isn't that doing that? Interesting. Okay, so we got 2, 4, 5. So that's 9. Yeah, so it'd be 12. Okay. I was starting to get worried there. All right. So roughly about 12 exahash came off based on that. All right. Going back to the sheet here before I bore you guys with my corrections. All right. So here's the way the network hash rate has kind of worked out over the last 24 months or something like that. This is where we were in April of 2022, right? The network hash rate was at 220 exahash at that point. The miners that I was tracking at that point were about 30.9 exahash, and you can see the bottoms here. The bottom numbers are for the miners. The top number is for obviously the network hash rate. So you can see here that the network hash rate has been growing quite tremendously. And at this point, the miners have also been improving on their percentages overall compared to, but there's sometimes they're going up a little bit more. Sometimes they're coming down depending on the private miners that I don't track, or some of the other miners that are public that I don't track either, are installing a heck of a lot more than what these guys are. Okay, you can see that obviously in this chart here. Month over month here, you can see that this last month in March, the network hash rate grew by 27 exahash, and the miners only grew by roughly a negative 0.1 exahash, so 100 petahash. They were actually lower on that side of things. Okay, so they were down, and I think that was down because of Hut 8 took off some miners to get moved over, and then we had somebody else. Let's take a look at that, what we had over there. If we go back over here to this one, if we look at it here from the month to month, we can see who else kind of went down on it. This one went up, this one went up. Yeah, Hut 8 was a big one. That one went down about, what, 1.8 or so exahash. Who else do we have here? Come down on here a little bit. Mara came down a little bit as well, but not much, based on what we could figure out. And that was basically it. So it was just enough on those two that it kind of brought the numbers down for all of the miners here. Not this one. This one. Okay. So that's kind of how that worked out. And you can see here that a lot of the months also where we had March 2023, we had a huge increase, obviously, in the network hash rate. 36 exahash was added compared to the miners only 4.2. We had it in here in October of 2023 as well. 38 exahash got added. Miners only added 4.1 that I cover. And then we had here in February as well, 46 exahash being added, while the miners only added about 9.6 exahash. But there are times where the miners also did pretty good here. You can see here in October of 2022, the miners added 8.7 exahash, while the network added 14 exahash. Where else do we have here? Over here in July. So there's times when the miners do start putting in quite a bit of exahash on there as well, especially when the orders start coming in for the machines. They start getting those plugged in, and that's usually when things will happen. So I think going forward into this next cycle, this next portion of the year, we have a couple miners that are going to be adding like 50 exahash roughly together, if not more than that. So that's going to be obviously a huge increase for them there. Going down here, we got public Bitcoin miners percentage of Bitcoin network hash rate. You can see that the miners here compared to the Bitcoin network peaked in July of 2023, where they got 23% of the network hash rate, and it has been coming down here. So based on that, it looks like other miners and other private miners have been installing more than some of these guys here recently. And we've kind of seen that, except for a couple of the big guys. They've been installing quite a bit, but still not enough to surpass the network hash rate increases and things like that to maintain their dominance, I guess you could say. Okay, month over month percentage increase here. We were down 0.1% on that, like we saw up there. Other than that, we had really good months in October of 2022. We installed quite a bit here, 21%. August, same thing, 21% of that year as well. And then after that, we've been kind of like below the 10% mark for the most part. And some months we were even at 2% here, 2%, 1.4%. And then we're down obviously a little bit here on this one. But I expect that to obviously reverse next month going forward. Now, when we look at this chart over here, this one looks the month over month. So we're looking at April numbers compared to March numbers for the miners that they have as far as percentage of the network hash rate. And we can see here that the teal, or the yellow teal lines, the bars here, are for the previous month, or sorry, yellow, teal, yellow. Teal is this one over here, sorry. The yellow is the current month, teal bar that you see here, that's for the previous month here. So that's where they were the previous month as far as percentage of the network hash rate. And this is the current month here. You can see the majority of these miners are down from the, down in percentage wise of the network hash rate. Only ones that are up here are Hive. Hive is up a little bit here from where they were. And then we can see here also that Iris is also up a little bit here from where they were prior to that as well. Okay, so that's kind of how that's working out right there. Mara was down quite a bit here. Who else was down? Hut 8 was down quite a bit, obviously, as well. And that is it. So it's kind of interesting to take a look at that as well, just to see how the miners are doing compared to the network hash rate, basically, at that point. And the next one I want to take a look at is the one that kind of coincide with this as well. Kind of looks at the 12-month hash rate difference for these miners. And you can see here that Marathon obviously has done the best here out of the bunch, being up 13.2 exahash from last year. CleanSpark is in second spot with 9.7 exahash being added. And then you got Iris with 6 exahash, followed by Bitdeer with 5.3. Well, Bitdeer wasn't public at that point, so I think that's kind of why you're seeing that. And then you got TeraWulf up 4.6 exahash as well. So we've obviously seen some pretty significant growth out of these miners in the last 12 months, which is nice to see. Going down here, year over year BTC mine difference. This one is kind of an interesting chart because this one can show you if the miners are keeping up with the network hash rate increase. So are they installing more miners than the network hash rate is growing, basically? And you can see that by the amount of BTC that they mined, other than maybe if they had issues in that prior year month that we're obviously checking against, which is obviously March. But other than that, this kind of shows you which miners are actually growing faster than the network hash rate is growing. And you got Bitdeer with 110 BTC more. You got CleanSpark with 208 more. So they're the top one here. Hut 8 with 100. That's mainly from them merging with USBTC, right? That's where their growth came from. Iris up 180 here. And then you got TeraWulf up 146 also. So those guys obviously have been growing the most. And you can see that also with the increase here on these charts here. And I probably should maybe get them to line up better. There we go. Okay. The only difference, a couple different ones here is obviously Core. Core is way down. Core is down 504 BTC from where they were last year. Right. They had a huge, they were at what, 19 exahash last year, I think, like something like that. At right around March, I believe, something like that. And then they've been obviously not doing much. They've actually been reducing their fleet by a couple exahash throughout the year in 2023. And then they've started now to kind of increase that again. But that's mainly the reason why they haven't really kept up with it. So they're pretty much flat from where they were last year. You can see here that they installed 3.19 exahash since then, right? So compared to what they had and what they have now, network hash rate continues to go up. You're going to be generating less Bitcoin, right? And you're kind of seeing that here in the numbers here. And this is only for self-mining also. And you're also seeing that here with Marathon, right? Marathon was probably had a smaller fleet at that point, but recently with their operational headaches that they're having, they actually mined less a little bit too. And same thing for Riot, right? Riot's down 270 BTC because they really haven't been keeping up with the growth of the network hash rate, surpassing it in percentage-wise comparison. So you're kind of seeing that as well on that one. And then when we look at the 12 months BTC mine totals, the sums, and this is only for self-mine, does not include anything else, hosting or joint ventures or anything like that. You can see here that Marathon came out number 1 with 12.9 thousand BTC. Core number 2 with 12.2, almost 12.3 thousand. And then you got CleanSpark with 7.5 thousand in number 3 spot. And then you got probably Riot number 4 spot with 5.8 thousand BTC. And then after that, you probably have, what is that? It's going to be Cypher here. Cypher, 4,797 BTC right now as of last year to this year comparison. So that's always kind of nice to take a look at to see how those have all played out. On it, the lowest generator one was Bit Digital, 1,556, followed by Hut 8, 2,546, and then Hive with 3,152. Okay. So that is it on those kind of charts, looking at all that data that we do have here on them. So just thought I'd share this with you guys. And that is it. All right. So my little sales pitch here, as always. Access to the spreadsheets is available to my Patreon members. The description for that is down in the link to the description. Wow, can't speak. The link to the Patreon membership is in the description below. That's still $8 a month. If you join for the full year, you get 10% discount, and then there's probably spots open for the $5 and $4 tier range as well, and you still get access to all this stuff here at those lower rates if you can find them. And what else did I want to say? Oh, private Discord server is there available to everyone as well, and we have a lot of great people on there, like I keep saying. But that's it. I'll leave it at that, and then we'll see, obviously, what happens here with Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin really quick, because that's got me kind of intrigued right now as far as what's going on with that. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin right now is still hovering right around that 70 or 61,000 mark. It's went below it, came above it, and now it's below it again. Where's the RSI on the 1 hour chart? On the 1 hour chart, the RSI is not that bad. I mean, we were lower here on the RSI, which was on Wednesday, and that was right around 11 o'clock in the morning, which is now, yeah, it's a little bit different timing, but we were lower on the RSI there. So we still might have a little bit more to the downside potentially, but then we might go up. We'll see. We'll see how tomorrow's going to shake up. If it goes down, like I said, I think it's going to go down to like the 57,000 mark, something like that, based on what we had support here prior on it at 57,500 to like 57,000, even somewhere around there. We're going to possibly bottom out maybe, and then potentially start going back up. Or we could, if we go past this, then we're going down to like the 53,700 mark, somewhere around there. We've had support here in this as well. But I think the biggest support here would be probably right around this range, which is around 52,000, which you have this huge chart here, bars over here of support. Okay. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Nobody really knows what's going to happen until it actually happens. But that's it. I just want to say thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. Greatly appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful halving day, I guess. We should probably start calling, well, having changes every 4 years. So it's not like we can have a holiday, but we can maybe have a holiday that changes dates. So it's a Bitcoin halving day tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great one on that. I'm going to be joining Luxor Technology along with BTC Mining stock guy. Anthony's going to be on there as well. Bryce is possibly going to be on there as well. And that's starting at 3:30. I think that's 3:30 Central Standard Time. So check for my Twitter page on that. I think I have links to that in there in my post. Okay, that's it. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll get it covered. Okay. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.